Call to order the Board of Election Commissioners for the City of Chicago. Good morning. My name is Maricel Hernandez. I'm the chair, and with me today is Commissioner June Brown.
Present.
And Commissioner William Cressy.
Likewise present.
Next item is a consideration of the agenda. Are there any proposed changes? If not, we'll proceed with the approval of minutes. We have two sets of minutes today. And is there a motion to approve both the regular board meeting minutes and the canvassing board meeting minutes of June 28th, 2022, which reconvened on July 19th, 2022?
So moved by Commissioner Brown.
Seconded by Commissioner Cressy.
Properly moved and seconded. All those in favor, please state aye.
Commissioner Brown votes aye.
Commissioner Cressy votes aye.
Motion passes and both sets of minutes are approved. Next is the Executive Director's Report. Mr. Holliday.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and good morning, fellow commissioners. This past Friday, every registered voter in the city of Chicago began to receive their new voter's card in the mail. This card contains their updated ward and precinct information, as well as the CP District Council information. The mailing will be complete by the end of this week. Our polling place department are filling vacant polling places. This process will finish later this month in time for the household mailing to go out in early October. Also, we have been contacted by a few senior facilities that had opted out of being polling places after the March 2020 election, asking to once again to be used as a polling place. We will be celebrating National Voter Registration Day next Tuesday, September the 20th. Community service will have a table in the Daily Plaza, and we will also be sharing information on how to become a poll worker, part-time hiring, and early voting officials. We are preparing all materials for our upcoming budget hearing with the City of Chicago on October the 4th. Myself, along with our Assistant Director, Sandra Sparrow, we attended the 37th Annual National Conference of Election Center in Denver, Colorado. Preparation for our early voting site, our super site for early voting has begun. On next week, we will begin our weekly staff meetings leading up to the election. We've inquired about some additional election day voting sites. United Center Atrium, we have submitted a request and we're waiting to hear from them. We've also will have a walkthrough at Navy Pier, seeing if they have something that's suitable that we can use. And also the NFL has an initiative, so we're also talking with Soldiers Field about using some type of facility as a election day voting center. There's also a location at 120 North Clark and also 1056 Washington Boulevard. It's a storefront. We've scheduled drop boxes again at Wrigley Field and at Wintrust Arena. So ends my report, Madam Chair.
Okay, are there any questions? Charles, I wanted to ask you, you mentioned a household mailing in October, and what is that about?
Well, the household mailing, it would have the voters, their precinct and ward, their polling place, early voting site, and it will have location of our super site. Our public relations director, Max Bever, he will speak more on that, Madam Chair.
Okay.
Regarding the conference, was there any new information for us for election administration?
No, what we have gathered, we can forward it to the commissioners. But for the short time we was there, because we didn't stay the whole conference,
Mhm.
But we there is some information. It was some vendors that Sandra spoke to. But that we did gather, we will forward it to you.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. If there are no further questions, thank you, Mr. Holliday. And now we'll hear from Sandra Spera. Good morning.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
I had staff to apply for the fiscal year 2023 polling place accessibility grant with the Illinois State Board of Elections, and I'm happy to report that it was approved. We are waiting to receive the acceptance agreement designating the actual amount and allowable expenditures for our request. I want to thank the following for their collaboration in submitting the grant proposal. Opal Walls, our procurement officer, Kimberly Carilla Walker, our finance manager, and Al Chase in our IT department, who continues to assist us with grants. We are hosting a job fair for part-time help at our warehouse this Wednesday, September 14th. The pay is $17 an hour, and the hours are up to 30 hours per week. Also, we have staff for those who want to apply to be an election judge, an early voting official, or want to register to vote. Additional part-time and temporary staff for our office are presently being recruited to assist with operations and preparation for the upcoming November 2022 election. This week, all departments will begin working extended hours. Last Friday, September 9th, was the last day for committee persons to assign judges. And as of yesterday, staff has begun assigning over-the-counter judges. The delivery of nursing home packages will start tomorrow and will continue the rest of the week. In terms of numbers, the total vote by mail applications is 131,804 as of this morning. The current total for election judges are 328 active assigned, 2,452 pending waiting to be assigned, 897 applications submitting waiting to be reviewed and approved, and the current total of election coordinators are 850 pending waiting to be assigned after they complete their online training, and 451 applications waiting to be reviewed and approved. And that concludes my report.
Okay. Commissioner Brown, did you have a question?
I think I hit my hand up by mistake, but I do have a question. As far as applications or sending out information regarding the election judges and election coordinators, should we just send out some information to contacts we might have, or is that just done through the workshops or the job fairs?
Definitely, if you can give us a list, definitely would be happy to forward the flyers that we have.
Okay, great, thanks.
And I guess one of my questions, Sandra, was how are we publicizing this job fair?
Max.
Oh,
So HR with Max has been working on this.
okay. Max.
Karen or Max? Yeah.
Max. Okay. Max, well, you might as well answer about that.
Certainly, yeah. Been working with Karen and HR. We created a flyer. We've shared that online, our social media accounts. I sent out a short press release. I did not see a hit on media yet, but we'll get another bite of the apple on the 20th for National Voter Registration Day. That table in Daily Plaza will be very visible for foot traffic, and we'll have all the same information and work as a de facto job fair at that location too. So we'll have 2 job fairs within the next 2 weeks.
Okay. And then, has there been outreach to community organizations about the job fair?
Yeah, I've been in contact with Streetwise, and they have sent, they have a workforce program. So I've spoken with the coordinator. He has sent the flyers to other organizations. Over the weekend, I emailed the Veteran Services Center at the city colleges, as well as their career centers. They are going to forward to their students and to the veterans. I believe some staff has been also posting at their local libraries or places near their homes. I can't think of the other. Oh, the Chicago Food Depository has a warehouse bridge program that they have a newsletter. I sent the flyer and they put the flyer in that newsletter that went out. I can't think of the other organizations right now.
Okay, well, so long as we're tapping into all of these organizations, that's the most important thing, because that's, I think, where we could really get people. That's good. Okay. Any other questions?
So, a quick question. Max, you mentioned the flyer, so the ones that you sent, we can just use some of those too, if we just have someone that we know personally that might be in an organization, we can just send those out like that, or do we
Absolutely.
need to come through you?
We've got PDFs. We can print extra ones out for you. We've got several sets of flyers. One's our general call for part-time workers for the election. We've got the one for the job fair. We'll have another one for National Voter Registration Day and the job fair. So,
Right.
Commissioner, I can send all those your way in PDF form and in JPEG form to share as a graphic on social too.
Great, thank you.
If I can, let me see. I guess I can't share, but okay. Go ahead.
Okay, I'll get it from
Good.
Max. Yeah.
If you could
Thank
send
you.
a set of those to me as well, Max, I'd appreciate it.
Certainly.
Yeah.
I'll send to all commissioners.
Thank you.
Yeah, okay. Okay, and now we'll go to Max. Is there anything additional, Max?
Well, good morning, everybody, and thank you, Chairwoman. I feel like it's been about a month and a half since I've been on board meeting call, so let's catch up. So over the last few weeks and months, we've been taking all media opportunities to discuss precinct consolidation. We'll continue to do so. That is the main message of many of our communications moving forward, including the household mailer that the executive director mentioned. That's our household polling place reminder mailing to all registered voters within Chicago. So those are our main two touch bases. As Director Holliday mentioned, everyone will have their new voter card by the end of this week. In early October, as soon as all polling places are finalized, they'll get this mailer. We have redesigned it so the front says, attention, your polling place may have changed. That's going to be the main messaging of our digital advertising and many of our print news ads ahead of the election. While we'll still promote early voting, we will have ads and digital ads that start with, has your polling place changed, with a link to your voter information so people can check their precinct polling place information, as well as all their voting options, vote by mail and early voting. On September 29th is the opening of early voting, as well as the first day that vote by mail ballots will be put into the mail. We have a press conference scheduled at 10 a.m. At the super site when that opens. So we will be following up with the commissioners. I'd like to say thank you to Kimi Mehta and our community services team. We did our first podcast entirely in Hindi just a few weeks back. And she is already working on a second episode, this time with a guest from Asian Americans Advancing Justice. So that has been a pleasure to work on, and we'll work on with additional members of our community services team. We'd like to have a podcast in Spanish, in Chinese, and in Polish moving forward too. And that is the end of my report.
Any questions?
Yeah, Max, just to make sure that when in the mailers that go out, they'll be told where their new polling place or where their polling place will be. In most cases, it's not new, but also the early voting site for their ward. Okay, and they'll be reminded they can go to any of the early voting sites, because in many cases, like in my ward, my early vote, I've got like 4 early voting sites closer than the one for my ward. So just as long as that reminder is in there as well.
That's correct, Commissioner. I'm glad that you brought that up. On the mailer, we do give 2 early voting locations, their specific ward location, but also their most geographically closest location. So I know last year, I got one, but it also mentioned, that the 47th ward was closer. This is again an opportunity beyond just the precinct consolidation, but to remind voters that they might find themselves within new ward boundaries. And so we will continue to share over the next, less than 60 days now, but reminding voters over and over that they might find themselves within new lines and therefore voting for new elected officials in the future.
Excellent. Thank you, sir.
Great, thank you. If there are no further questions, we'll proceed with our agenda. Next item is old business, infrastructure projects and changes in election administration, and voting equipment. Are there any updates to this?
None at the time, Madam Chair.
How about electronic poll books, Mr. Holliday?
Nothing with the electronic poll books either.
Okay. Legislation, Mr. Lasker.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The General Assembly still is not in session, still not planning to go into session until after the next election. I do want to point out I've reached out to leadership at the State Board of Elections to discuss the need to, at least for Chicago and probably suburban Cook and other big jurisdictions, to have our early voting sites open as vote centers on election day for the 2023 elections. Sounds like we're going to get support from the State Board of Elections on that, but of course we need the General Assembly to go into session before anything can be done. So that's all I've got at this point.
Mr. Lasker, question with regards to, I know we were talking previously with regards to the Chicago Police Advisory Council's election coming up next year, that we needed some sort of reformative legislation to go through city council on that. Any advancement on that?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I should have brought that up. It's local legislation, even though it's not at the General Assembly. I am in communication. We've been having some meetings with the Chicago Law Department that is working with the City Council to put forward some amendments. The amendments are rather simple, but they have tremendous impact. For one thing, they'll be adding language that would say that, general election law will control any aspect of election administration that's not otherwise set forth in the ordinance. That's very common for smaller local kinds of elections like this. So that would be very prudent. And then they're also proposing to change the signature requirement, which we've previously discussed is a problematic signature requirement. Instead of being based on numbers of registered voters, their current proposal is to have it be based on election results from the preceding presidential election, which works seamlessly then and gives adequate public notice as to what those signature requirements would be. So yeah, that's theoretically going to be proposed at this month's City Council meeting. And very much a work in progress. Was just following up again as recently as yesterday with them on that.
Excellent. Thank you much, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. We will now proceed to new business. And first item on the agenda is approval of an option for contract renewal with Roth and Company for independent external audit services. Mr. Lasker?
Thank you, Madam Chair. In the summer 2021, the board did a RFP, for independent external auditing services. The contract went to Roth and Company. It includes the option for 3 one-year extensions. The current proposal is to extend. The board would be planning to initiate yet another audit in 2023, so this would allow them to get started. In addition to completing the current audit that they're working on, I heard from Mr. Holliday this week, we might be expecting to receive an audit report from them on the pending audit by this week or next. So that is the request, is just to exercise the board's option to renew this particular contract for another year at the exact same terms and conditions that were previously bid and awarded.
Okay, thank you. Well, if there are no questions on this, is there a motion to approve a 1-year contract extension with Roth and Company for independent external audit services at exactly the same terms and conditions that we previously approved?
Commissioner Cressy, who is also an auditing professor and could speak for hours on the value of an external independent audit, but will restrain himself. So moves.
Commissioner Brown, who asked lots of questions, seconds.
Okay. Properly moved and seconded. All those in favor, please state aye.
Commissioner Cressy says votes aye.
Commissioner Brown votes aye as well.
Motion passes. Thank you so much. Next item is the approval of short-term property use agreement with 108 North State Street for the 2023 elections.
Anyone need to speak to that? Or?
Okay, Block
I
37,
think
Madam
you're
Chair, is normally what we use
You'd think I'd be used to that by now.
for judges training, but we're doing online. But it houses our election day attorneys and standby judges and standby election coordinators. That's what the contract for Block 37 is. And also the language translators, once we're translating the ballots, they use that facility to prove as well.
Okay. Mr. Holliday, what are the terms of this agreement?
I don't have them before me. I would ask if Adam or Opal have those agreements.
I think Adam indicated he has those.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We have a current contract for this November election. So what we're looking at now is for the 2023 elections, for both February and April. There'll be a one-time flat fee of $80,000 for suites 260 through 268 and 350, the same space we're currently using.
And for what period of time is this, Mr. Lasker?
It would begin on November 14th of this year and run through April 9th of 2023 to get us through that April election.
Okay. Are there any further questions? If not, is there a motion to approve the a short-term property use agreement with 108 North State Street for the 2023 elections in the amount of $80,000 and for the period November 14, 2022 through April 9, 2023?
So moved by Commissioner Brown.
And Commissioner Cressy was disappointed we couldn't get the space next to the Magnolia Bakery. Nonetheless, seconds.
Okay, properly moved and seconded. All those in favor, please state aye.
Commissioner Brown votes aye.
And Commissioner Cressy votes aye.
Motion passes. Thank you. Next item is the 2023 advisory referendum guidelines. Mr. Lasker, I assume you're talking on this?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. The board does every election cycle publish guidelines for advisory referenda proponents. There have been no substantive changes to the relevant laws, so we've updated the dates and deadlines in relation to the February 2023 election. After the board's approval, these will be sent out for translations, and Mr. Bever will get everything published on the website.
Okay. Do the commissioners have any questions? If not, is there a motion to approve, to adopt the 2023 advisory referendum guidelines?
So moved by Commissioner Cressy.
Seconded by Commissioner Brown.
Probably moved and seconded. All those in favor, please state aye.
Commissioner Cressy votes aye.
Commissioner Brown votes aye.
Motion passes. Thank you. And then we also have 2023 local option guidelines. Mr. Lasker?
That's correct, Madam Chair. Yet again, no substantive changes to the Illinois Liquor Control Act of 1934. So we've just updated the dates and deadlines in relation to the February election. As a reminder, these particular local option referenda, which involve a referendum to either prohibit the sale of alcohol or to allow the sale of alcohol in a certain jurisdiction, these petitions are filed with the city clerk's office. The Board of Elections merely receives ballot certifications from the city clerk's office.
Thank you.
It's 5 boxes for voter registration.
Yeah, they can come in here.
Okay.
Okay, if there's no further questions from the commissioners, is there a motion to adopt the 2023 local option guidelines?
So moved by Commissioner Brown.
Seconded by Commissioner Cressy.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor, please state aye.
Commissioner Brown votes aye.
Commissioner Cressy votes aye.
Election day.
Motion passes. Thank you.
I'll put them right there.
Next item on the
I'm
Betty?
please, Ms. Magnus, can you mute yourself, please?
Betty? Can you mute yourself?
I'm sorry.
That's okay. Thank you. Now we'll proceed with the legal report. Mr. Lasker?
Thank you, Madam Chair. As you know, on Friday of last week, we wrapped up the pending electoral board cases. Tomorrow at 5 p.m. or 4:30 would be the deadline for filing judicial review. I'm not expecting any judicial reviews from those pending cases. We've also, of course, received via email service the complaint with for the lawsuit filed by Dr. Willie Wilson. I've spoken with his attorney, Andrew Finco, and I'm waiting to hear back as to whether there's any results of that conversation. What I raised with Mr. Finco is that there are two primary allegations in the lawsuit, both of which are really just factually and legally incorrect. First of all, they're alleging that the board's intent was to not publicize, to not go public with the new precinct boundaries until sometime in the middle of October. Yet that's completely incorrect, as the board went public with these. I think Mr. Bever said the date was August 23rd. So that was before the lawsuit was even filed. As you've heard now, the voter cards are in the process of being mailed out this week with the new precinct information. You can go to our website, look yourself up, you get your new precinct information. So that's a very fundamental flaw in the complaint that I spoke with Mr. Finco about. He said he would go back and talk to his client about that. The second issue is they're alleging that the board is breaking up ethnic voting blocks by redistricting its precincts the way it has. That's just frankly a legal impossibility. Ethnic voting blocks are protected under the U.S. Constitution, and redistricting can break them up in unlawful ways. But that only happens with voting districts from which officers are elected. So that if you take one group of people who's able to elect someone of their ethnicity and you break those two groups apart, they can no longer work together to elect someone over here. But no one is elected from a precinct. So if you take this ethnic group of voters and put them in two different precincts, their election results still stay right here for that person they're trying to elect. There's no ethnic block that's broken up. And so that's just frankly a legal impossibility, but is also one of the fundamental claims in the lawsuit. So actually hoping to hear back soon from Mr. Finco as to how that information changes their mind about moving forward. If they don't like the change to the sizes of the precincts, that's a complaint properly addressed towards the state of Illinois, which passed the state legislation, because this is a statewide change in the precincts that's going on. Currently, the state of Illinois is not a defendant in this lawsuit, but if that's their complaint, the state should be the defendant, and the Board of Elections is simply following that new state statute. So that's my legal report for today. Thank you.
Okay. Do commissioners have any questions? If not, okay. If none, thank you, Mr. Lasker. And now we'll proceed with our financial report. We have a balance sheet and voucher listing for the City of Chicago, a 2022 appropriation number 22-06 dated September 13, 2023, in the amount of $3,365,458.64. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved by Commissioner Cressy.
Seconded by Commissioner Brown.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor, please state aye.
Commissioner Cressy votes aye.
Commissioner Brown votes aye.
Motion passes. We also have a balance sheet and voucher listing for the County of Cook, a 2022 appropriation number 22-06 dated September 13, 2022, in the amount of $1,463,13.90. $1,463,013.90. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved by Commissioner Brown.
Seconded without repeating that number, Commissioner Chris, because I'd mess it up too. So Commissioner Cressy.
Properly moved and seconded. All those in favor, please state aye.
Commissioner Brown votes aye.
Commissioner Cressy votes aye.
Motion passes. Thank you. And now we'll proceed to public comment. Do we have any questions?
No,
no request for public comment was filed with us this morning.
Okay, is there anybody else?
Yes, yes, Madam Chair, I have something. When there was talking and voices in the back of Betty Magnus's when we was on, that was Betty speaking with Tony from our office who had just delivered voter registrations to Operation Push for the National Black Voter Registration Day, which will be held this Sunday, September the 18th. So that's what that commotion was, Madam Chair.
Okay,
Tony was delivering those registrations to Operation Push.
okay, thank you, thank you. Do we have any other questions or comments? If not,
Let me ask one quick question back to Executive Director Holliday. You mentioned the budget. What date did you say that hearing was on with the city council?
It's going to be October the 4th.
October the 4th, and we'll be submitting to the city?
Yes,
Okay.
the budget has been submitted already, but we will be going before city council on October 4th for whatever question, to answer whatever questions they may have toward our budget.
Okay.
okay, thank you. If there is, Mr. Lasker, is there a need for executive session today?
Today, Madam Chair, thank you.
That's it. Okay, if, I think that concludes our business for today. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved by Commissioner Cressy.
Seconded by Commissioner Brown.
Properly moved and seconded. All those in favor, please state aye.
Commissioner Cressy votes aye.
Commissioner Brown votes aye.
Motion passes and we are adjourned. Thank you so much for your time. Take care.
Take care, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you.
Take care, everybody.